All right, welcome back to another edition of Profit Pro Plus training. So far, hopefully you have already watched the orientation video or read the orientation documents. In this series, we're going to talk specifically about the introduction and the awareness of the Profit Pro Plus loaders. There are three different types of loaders. As the functionality goes in Profit Pro Plus, we've tried to set up triple redundancy for just about every function that you could execute. Let's go ahead and log into the program and take a look. Before we do, one little reminder, side note, you have the ability to always log in to the specific page that you want to from the login landing page, or you can simply hit enter and that will take you to the default page, which is the inventory page. Let's discuss the three different types of loaders. The first type of loader that we have is what we call the auto loader. Now, the auto loader is what would have come in your initial setup emails. The first email that you get from Profit Pro Plus is your welcome email that gives you your login and your temporary password. The second email is a specific customized email that comes to you with your loader instructions for your vendors. Now, these are the auto loaders that your vendor will use to communicate with the program so that we're constantly getting the weekly updates on your price lists as well as your invoice uploads. So we want this information in particular for two different reasons. With your inventory, we want to have a rule that says the price of this product needs to be counted based on the last time purchased. Now, because we can't go back through all of your invoices since inception, you might have a product that has been sitting on your shelf for maybe a month. Well, if you just started today, the only way that we can generate any kind of accuracy from that price would have been based off your current price list. And then every subsequent item that you order on an invoice that gets uploaded into the system, our system recognizes that as the new price. So that's basically the default rule so that we can get as close to accurate as possible on your purchase price and your inventory value of product on hand. Within the auto loader, there's also functions for uploading your PMix sales, and those directions also come in that second email. So that's the auto loader. The auto loader is pretty much an automated system that you don't really have too much work to deal with after setup. After the auto loader, you have the manual loader. The manual loader gives you the ability to choose from your files and load them up into the system in a specific file format. So let's take a look at that specific default file format really quick. And again, we'll cover this information in great detail in the autoloader training. But for an overview, we want to get you comfortable and understand how the program works and how these loaders work, what they do, and how to use them. In this slide, we just have the three default definitions for the way that our autoloader system reads. Basically, the autoloader has a self-identifying filtering tool that will identify three different file types of information when it automatically opens them and uses them to populate the data in your program. The first is the PMix default definitions. When loading a PMix file from your POS system, this is the format that it's going to read the columns in from your file. The invoice default definitions will read similar information but in a different way. Certainly in your PMix, you're not going to have an invoice date and you're not going to have an item code or a pack size. And last, in your inventory default definitions, these differ a little bit from invoice because invoice has quantities and invoice has totals, where the inventory default doesn't have any of that information. It's just your line item pricing from your vendors, your manufacturers, your distributors in the order guide sequence. So back to the program, these loaders work with three different types of functionality. We need to have the data loaded into inventory so that we can build recipes. We need to have the data loaded into PMix or sales so that we can populate the recipe cards with the specific items that you sell. And we also need to have the data loaded into inventory for your invoices so that we can go based on your most current price purchased so that we can give you the most accurate food cost and projections available. The last loader type is the manual line item order. We understand that there's going to be anomalies. There's going to be individual times where you need to load just a one-off item. Perhaps you have an event from a catering or a special party where somebody's requested a product that you don't carry. You would want to build that product into your inventory list by simply hitting the new button in inventory, putting that item in by definition straight down the list, saving it, closing it, and then watching it appear in your inventory. Once it appears in your inventory, you're now ready to go make a recipe. For illustrations of this example, we could make it in a research and development recipe. Let's say we're just trying to figure out what is this item going to cost to put into a dish, and how much should we charge for that dish when quoting this specific party or this catering event. That would be one illustration, but there's a number of different ways or reasons why you would need to put in a one-off specific item into inventory. So that pretty much covers the 3 different loader types and the types of data and where it goes and how to use it. Stay tuned for the subsequent training videos where we're going to take a deep dive specifically into the manual loader, how to use it, how to populate it, and how to refresh and keep it current. And additionally, we will also cover the individual item loader in more detail, but this overview is just meant to get you comfortable and to make you aware of how the different loaders work. Stay tuned for the next training, and thanks for tuning in.